70 days plus for the end of the year. And let me do my sound check here. That's not it. That's yesterday. Come on, work with me. Work with me. Work with me. Okay. Hope everybody's having a great day. Looking forward to, let's see if I can sound check, testing. Okay, we're testing. All right, it's working. I love it when it works. Okay. We have between 28 and 33 days of inventory, which is really, really good. We listed 91 homes yesterday and put 103 under contract and closed 109. So those numbers are kind of together, close together. So that means that we're probably not going to see a big change in the days of inventory. We are selling 118 a day, same as last year. And so that's interesting. We've done 2,124 sales so far this month, which is 118 a day. And of those that we listed yesterday, the 91, 22 were 400 and under. And we have 820 homes under 400,000. We have 517 homes over $1 million, and everything else falls in between. So half the market is in between, and the other half is 400 and under and over $1 million. So it's all good. I think we have quite a variety of properties now. So that makes me feel good. Hopefully it makes you feel good. The investors are still plugging away here at 40, 45 homes a day, basically. It went up a little bit. We were experiencing 31% that they were buying, and now it's up to 32%. Not a big shift. We'll see what happens toward the end of the year. And like last year, we were outperforming 2020, where we were selling 106 homes a day. And this year to date, we're selling 139. And this month to date, we're selling 118. So I don't see that the market's going to slide at all. So that's good news. Let's see here. Let me close some of this. These things are getting in my way. Hide that one. And whatever happened to my thing? Why does it move on me? Hang on, everybody. I want to show you something. There it is. These two charts, one on the left represents the median versus the average. And this takes all of the homes together, meaning the $1 million, I think our highest priced home right now in the market is $32 million. Our lowest priced home in the market is $30,000. So anyway, our agent formula website used to do a mid-range, and we're removing that so that there is no minimum and no maximum. So when somebody goes on and says how many homes are available, it is going to say across the board how many are available. So we are making that alteration. And within the next week, it'll happen. We did post our Las Vegas Market Watch yesterday, and we did send it out. It took me a little bit longer to do it this month. I apologize for that. I try to do it the first week of the month, but I failed. But anyway, it's still a good one, and it has a downloadable guide that your database can download and see. Let's see, what did we do? How much they can buy, and then we did something on the various interest rates if they wait. So anyway, it's really a good one. I like it a lot. So I think what else did I have that here? No. Okay. So this particular side is everything. So it says that the median sales price is $407,000, while the average is $502,000. But of course, like I said, that includes the $1 million homes. Then what I did is I took the same statistical generator, and I said, okay, I want homes under $1 million. And when you take away the $1 million homes, then the median price goes to $400,000. Now, everybody can have their opinion on that, but I think that's relevant. I think that's relevant. Good morning, Karen. It's always good to see you. Good to see you. And let's see. I read yesterday is not buying any more homes through the end of the year. Wow, that would be something cool. I like that. What was your source, if you don't mind me asking? Just let me know if you can. That would be great. I'd like to know about that. Yeah, that would be good. Interesting, because I'm sure there's a story behind that. So maybe I'll have to do some research on that. Thank you so much for that information. All right, so I think this is important, and you know, you all need to be the authority in your market. And so when people say, "Oh, houses are rising," you know, we're pricing the you know, the median household in Las Vegas out of the market. Well, we're really okay so far because I think, let's see, go back to my chart here. If we look at, let me put this down and put me down. And if you look at the bottom here, I do the $400,000 sales price with 10% down. It ends up being $846 a month with all the costs. And you know, rents are right around that area as well for the same type of property. So 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and rents are going up. That is for sure. We know that rents are going up. And what we need to be able to do is to be an authority when we talk to people. Wear your badge, put this, whatever piece of paper you want to use, whether it's my stats, whether it's something like this, where real estate is the greatest hedge against inflation. At 41%, real estate earned the highest rating in the history of the survey. So just like Warren Buffett always said, you know, you don't wait to buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait, because real estate continues to go up in value. And we had our law class yesterday, which was great. Thank you so much, Jimmy Daig. He just outdid himself at this class. Everybody loved it. And it was really, really good. Thank you, Jimmy. And we're going to have that class again November 3rd. So go to be.vegas. And if you haven't taken the law class, it's really, really good. All brand new, fresh. So I like that. Anyway, we were talking yesterday about the market and the hedge against inflation and all these different things and being the authority in your market. So no matter, you need to have some piece of paper with you to tell people, oh, look, or you mail it to people. You say, oh, here's what's going on in the market. And you can tell them that, you know, you're part of a group that reviews the market every day. Use those words. I'm part of a group that reviews the market every day. And that gives you some sense of authority as well, because you are part of a group that reviews the market every day. And people like to hear that. Then they like to see things on paper. You know, you want to be able to hand this out to them. Again, it's not branded in any way, so you can just hand it over to them. It has a ton of information here. And no matter, and I tried to make it so, you know, no matter what who you're talking to, if it's a homeowner over here, right? Or if it's somebody that wants to buy, you got that down here. If it's someone that wants to just know what's going on in the market and the median price, all these things are here. So very important that you are the authority, because like we said last week when we listened to Seth Godin, Zillow is going to be the clerk of the future, the online Expedia, if you will, because like we said, there's no more airline or travel agencies. You know, you just go online and do it, and that's what Zillow is trying to do: get people to go online and buy a house without the help of a human being. That's not going to happen in our industry. People are not going to buy. There's my spam call. Sorry. So people are not going to go online and for the most part and buy a $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 home without seeing it. Now, it was interesting because I was listening to Gary Vaynerchuk, and he's one of the people, my mentors, and he said that he wouldn't have a problem doing that. He could buy $1 million home by just looking at the pictures and doing his own research and learning about the communities and the schools because he has kids. But he's not the rest of us. He's not the majority. And as long as we continue to, you know, be the storytellers and be what the consumer wants. And just like Seth said last week, and we're going to listen to Seth a little bit today as well, to continue his speech that he gave at the Success Summit. So anyway, I'll say it 100 times, you need to be the authority, you need to have a farm, and you need to do video, right? Before we go into Seth, I want to see, let me put this down here. Put Seth up here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to Seth. I just want to segue just a little bit for 2 or 3 minutes and tell you, Inman. Oh, you got it from Inman. Oh, Inman. Yeah, I'll research that. Inman always has good information. Good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. So I have a schedule here. Now, John's having hip replacement surgery on Friday. And we're leaving tomorrow for Santa Barbara. And this is a list of all the things that we had to do to prepare for the surgery. Now, COVID has really changed a lot of what people have to go through. He had to, of course, everybody has a pre-op before you go to surgery. They want to know, your blood, make sure you're not, you don't have an infection, that your white blood cell count is good. They want to know, sorry. They want to know that, you're reasonably healthy, right? They don't want you dying on the table. And then they take your EKG, and now they're doing a COVID test, and you have to have that 2 days before the surgery. So we have to do that tomorrow at 2:00 in Santa Barbara. And then when you do your hip, because they do it robotically now, which is just amazing to me, they're going to be putting John on a table and spreading his legs out, and they do a CAT scan on Thursday, so that when they're doing the operation, the computer that's actually the robotic computer knows how to do the hip so that both his legs are the same length. Because in the past, that was the biggest complaint about some of the surgeries before the robotic surgery, and this particular test to make sure your legs are the same length came about. So, good morning. Good morning. Good to see you. Anyway, so interesting that we have so many tests we have to go through. So the COVID test, of course, the pre-op test, all the blood tests, the CAT scan, and then we had to call a company to deliver the device for compressing his legs so he doesn't get blood clots. And then there's an ice something, and didn't research that, but we had to call that, get that delivered to Santa Barbara. And then we had to get home health care scheduled for when we bring him home on Monday. Then people come in, make sure everything's fine. And all of this, because we're on Medicare, we don't pay for. I mean, that's amazing. And I really appreciate the Medicare and our insurance that has paid millions of dollars for, John's had cancer a couple of times, and Parkinson's, and now this. And I mean, I came out of pocket, I think, $198 for these devices, but that was it. Amazing, just totally amazing. And then I have to tell you one more thing, and then we'll get on with Seth Godin. I think I lost some viewers. They want to hear it. Sorry about that. But anyway, for those of you who are interested, the doctor did a FaceTime with us yesterday. He wanted to know where John was born, why he moved to Las Vegas, stuff about me. He wanted to talk to me. He said, I want to know the people that the family that's going to be affected by this operation. And I want to talk to John, who I'm operating on. And I thought, oh, wow, what a great bedside manner that was. And I just passed that along, because if you're not receiving that type of care is out there. It really is. And it's important when anybody operates on you that, you go through all these things. COVID has added one more thing I want to just tell you briefly about. There's a cleanser called HybiCleans. And if you've ever watched a doctor show and you see these doctors washing their hands before they go into surgery, well, that's what they're putting on is HybiCleans. HybiCleans is an antiseptic. So John has to shower using that for 5 days before surgery, then the day of surgery, and several days after surgery, because of infections. Infections are rampant now in our world. So anyway, just wanted to pass that information. Hopefully I didn't bore too many people, but I just think it was really interesting. All right, I'm going to be quiet. We're going to listen to Seth. Okay, Seth is going to pick up where he left off, and with a little bit of luck, I will do a tech check to make sure everybody can hear. And so here we go. Hang on, I got to go over here and get them started.
Eric is the real estate broker with the business card with their little picture in the corner, driving exactly the same car as every other real estate broker, answering the phone in the same way as every other. You get the idea. That's generic. It's replaceable. Genre is, what does this remind me of? Genre says, if I buy a comic book with a superhero I've never seen before, it still matches Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, because even though the story is different, it's in the same genre. And you have the opportunity to see genre and then to bend it, to do the reading and to understand how to be distinct. Not distinct because you want to stand out, but distinct because you're telling a story to someone who needs to hear one. And you need to bring good taste to the table. Good taste means you know what your people want just before they do. It's not good taste to wear a clown suit to a funeral. You don't have to experiment with that. But you do have to experiment with a lot of other creative options that are available to you. Because if you're not being creative, you're not going to stand out. And what it means to be creative, two parts. One, doing something generous to help somebody else. And two, something that might not work. If you're sure it's going to work, it's not creative. If you're sure it's going to work, it's in the manual. If you're sure it's going to work, someone else is doing it too. But when we start to be creative on behalf of other people, when we market with them instead of at them, we become that meaningful specific. And now for the first time at scale, what you get to do is treat different people differently. This is something that is completely missing from the real estate industry. How many questions do you need to ask somebody before you find out that they're different than the person who came before? Because they're sending you signals all the time. Is this a buyer who wants to win at all costs? Or is it a buyer who wants to tell themselves the story that they got a good deal? Because those are two totally different outcomes. And they're two totally different people. And if you've got a I want to win at all costs buyer, you have to treat the transaction and the potential for a bidding war differently than if you have a buyer who's trying to shortcut the system. What questions are you asking so that you can treat different people differently? Because if you just go down the list and slam and bam to try to get everyone the same to force them through your funnel, they're going to leave. Because Zillow is smarter than you. Because they are used to searching for what they want on Google and finding it. We are used to buying so many things without an intermediary. You need a dermatologist? Well, it used to be the only way to get a dermatologist is to ask your doctor. Now you go to ZocDoc, you compare 8 dermatologists and you find the one you want based on what you want. Maybe your story is, I need a dermatologist who can see me today. And maybe your story is, I need a dermatologist who's board certified and admired by their peers. Or maybe it's, I need a dermatologist who is close to my house. Different people want different things. So we're done with everyone. Everyone doesn't make sense. Only one person buys a house. Someone is what we care about. Not everyone, someone. Which specific mindset? I don't care about demographics. I don't care about someone's race or sexual preference. I care about their choices. Their choices about what story do they want to tell themselves. Because if we can help bring that story to life, they will say thank you. And so I've managed to talk for more than half an hour without saying the 7 words that describe marketing through and through. And the 7 words are, people like us do things like this. Who are the people like us? What kind of person buys a house on Main Street in Park City? People like us do things like this. One of the things you may notice if you go up the ski lift at Park City, mysteriously, when there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, you notice all these black squares. What are the black squares? The black squares are heated driveways. You can go to another ski town, not one house has a heated driveway. Why do these houses have heated driveways? People like us do things like this. And that is the essence of culture. That is how we establish where people are going. And so when we start to think about people like us do things like this, when we start to think about treating different people differently, these two words become essential: status and affiliation. Status doesn't mean luxury goods. Status means compared to all the people around me, who's up and who's down. Maybe you know somebody with a grip of a handshake. They're trying to move up. Maybe you know someone who's really a jerk at most closings because they are keeping score of a certain kind of behavior. Maybe somebody needs their car to be just a little bit more expensive than everybody else's. Or they're willing to live on that block, but they're not willing to live on this block. Why? Status. Often when someone is buying a house who already has a house, and that's most of the people you sell houses to, what they're actually doing is buying a story about status. Where do I fit in the hierarchy? And other times, and this is not just in real estate, this is in everything. Other times, we're talking about affiliation. Who's to my left? Who's to my right? How do I fit in? You can't have a better heated driveway than everybody else. But if everyone has a heated driveway and you don't feel affiliated. You don't feel like you are connected at the same level. And so what we do for a living when we build these stories that cause change to happen is we are trading in status and affiliation to make change happen. And we get to position ourselves, not because we want more than our fair share, but because we want to help people get what they want. If you walk into a Ferrari dealership and you say, I have an $8,000 budget and I need a beater car to drive to the station when I commute, the Ferrari dealer will not try to sell you a Ferrari. If they're any good, they will hand you the phone number of a trusted dealer of used cars a mile away. But you say, why? Don't let the lead out the door. Well, that's selfish. Because guess what? That's not a lead for you. That person's not going to buy a Ferrari. But if you can serve them, if you can offer them connection, you will earn trust. And trust is far more precious than attention. And so when the phone rings and the person who is looking for a home would be better off 3 towns over, you should walk them over 3 towns. And you should introduce them to a broker that will do a better job than you. Because it is narcissistic to believe that you will do the best job. That's inconceivable, that you are the best broker for every house in every place that one can imagine. No, you're not. But if you are specific, if you are serving, if you are teaching instead of hustling, you will eagerly send people to someone else. If you're not doing that, that's a symptom. But if you are, it will come back to you. It will come back to you many times over. I don't care about your logo, but I do care about your brand. Your brand is the promise. It's the shortcut. It's the expectation. In my head, what do I expect before you even open your mouth? So let's think about 2 famous brands, Nike and Hyatt. So Hyatt has a logo. You would recognize it. Hyatt doesn't have a brand. Because if Hyatt came out with a line of sneakers, and I said, everyone here, draw what Hyatt sneakers would look like, most of us couldn't do it. But Nike has a brand. Because if Nike announced they were opening a hotel, I think all of us could imagine what a Nike hotel would be like. So you're a brand. If you switched careers to become a psychiatrist or a pizziolo with a local pizza place, would people have an expectation as to what it would be like? Because otherwise, you're just a cog in the system. But you can stand for something. And you can activate the network effect. The network effect says a fax machine doesn't work if no one else has a fax machine. Because if you try to send yourself a fax, you'll just get a busy signal. That your email or your Facebook or whatever works better if your friends have it too. And so what is it about what you do that works better if I tell my friends? What is it about how you spend your time that works better if I spend my time bringing other people in. Because there's no law that says you can't have a weekly cocktail party for new and old neighbors to meet each other. There's no law that says that you can't figure out other things you can add on top of the given clerk work that make being part of your circle worth it. And that is the future of this industry, because community is what people are buying anyway. Community is, how far is this, not just from my office, but from the school, from the playground? Who are my neighbors going to be? Am I going to be glad I came here? What will I tell my mom? What will I tell my mother-in-law? You're in the business of giving people those stories and making those stories true. So when we think about what does it mean to do your job better than Zillow ever could, because you can bet Zillow wants your job, it means that you can be trusted. And to be trusted, flip side of being loyal, the airlines like to have loyalty programs. No one's loyal to an airline. For $1, you would switch airlines because the airlines have worked so hard to all be the same. No, what it means to be trusted is that when it gets hard for you, you'll do it anyway. That when it's not convenient for you, you'll do it anyway. What it means is that you have chosen to be on the hook and glad of it. And then you turn around and you keep that promise, no matter how good the excuse is. So this idea that you need to hustle for attention to stand out, you can't win that auction. You can't find enough money to do that. You can't figure out how to win when you are up against people who will hustle harder than you. No, what you've got here is the opportunity to do something bigger than that, something more important than that. You've got the opportunity to matter. So when you think, how am I going to get more attention? What sort of gimmick can I do? How can I build a bonfire? Don't burn trust to get attention. You don't need more attention. What you need are people who care about your circle, who want to be in your circle, who benefit by sharing your ideas with other people because it helps their status and their affiliation. That is where the future lies. So I got 2 stories to tell you, but I'm so eager to talk to Tom that I'm going to do them sort of quickly. Here's the first one. I live right next to Yonkers, New York, on the tidal estuary, the Hudson River. It's 184 miles from Boston. How do I know? Because I used to have a tech office in Boston, Massachusetts. And once a week, I would drive there to see all my engineers. And inevitably, I would get caught in a 2 or 3 hour traffic jam and spend the whole time looking up and seeing planes flying into Logan, no problem. And I would curse and say, I should have flown. And every once in a while, I would fly, but then I get stuck in air traffic control delays and look down and the cars were having, no matter what I did, I lost. What can you do? So one time, before 9/11, I decided to fly. And I get from the White Plains Airport to Logan Airport in 29 minutes. It was amazing. And I have a full day of meetings. 8 o'clock, I get back to Logan. I'm pretty bedraggled. And you guessed it, karma. We circled the White Plains Airport for an hour and a half until we ran out of gas and had to make an emergency landing in Albany, New York. Now, there may be some people listening to me who love Albany, New York, but that is not my experience. And the pilot comes on and says, yeah, we're in Albany, and I think I can have you back to White Plains by 1 a.m. Well, this is ridiculous because Albany is only an hour and 20 minutes by car from White Plains, where my car is. So I go online, and I see that Avis is still open, and they got 1 car left. It's a 4-door, and I pay for it immediately. They got 5 minutes before they close. I shut my laptop. I stand up on the plane, and I say to everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a psychopath. I'm wearing a tie. I just got the last car that's available. My car's in White Plains. So is yours. I got 3 empty seats. Who wants a free ride home? And not one person raised their hand. As far as I know, they're still in Albany. And I spent the whole ride home thinking, was it my presentation? Was it my pitch? Do I need a better deck? And then I realized what the problem was. The problem was we have been indoctrinated, you and me and everyone else, into believing that if we stay on the plane, it's United Airlines' fault. And if we get off the plane, it's our fault. And so we stay on the plane. And I'm here today to beg you to get off the plane. That the revolution is here. It is happening all around us. And hard work is not sufficient. What is sufficient is saubana, the Zulu term for I see you. Doesn't mean I see your face. It means I see your parents and your grandparents and your great-grandparents before you. It means I see your fears and your hopes and your dreams. It means I'm enrolled in your journey if you're enrolled in mine. And we have a chance to do that, to find Sawabana. And the second story happened to me not far from Wyoming in New Mexico. I got invited to this secret conference. And there were playwrights and business people and authors and other fancy folks there. I got to bring my family with me. And the highlight was to hear Neil Armstrong speak. I became friends with him over the weekend. I think it was his last public appearance. And Neil was there to talk about the Apollo 11 mission that changed the world. And it's the last night. It's 42 degrees out. It's freezing, and they give us blankets. We're out on the mesa, and it's cold, and there's all these stars out, and they build this big campfire. And standing in front of the campfire is Neil talking about the mission to the moon. And as he's talking, the biggest full moon I have ever seen rises over his shoulder. I think there was some advanced planning involved. All I know is he stopped and he turned and he says, I've been there. Here's the deal. In 1969, NASA sent people into space and brought them back safely when the sum computing power of the entire institution was less than the device in your pocket. You have enormous benefit of the doubt and trust and privilege and technology and opportunity. And when it feels all too much, like there's just no way forward, please go outside and look up at the moon and realize there are footprints on the moon. My friend Shalene says, look, there's no question you're going to succeed. You're here. You've already succeeded. That's not what's on offer. The question is, will you seek to matter? I hope you will. Back to you, Tom.
Oh, shit. Come on, Jason.
Me. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh boy. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, what I'm saying is he was talking about networking. He was talking about, building a community.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, you can hear me now. Okay.
Oh boy.
I get so caught up in things that my passion overrules my brain. Anyway, Zillow wants our job. He says that again. They want our job. But we can be trusted. And why can we be trusted? Because we can do things when it's hard. We can do things when it's not convenient. We go on the hook to do things for people. We tell them that we're going to deliver. We're going to deliver the most important thing that they want in life, which is a home, which is the biggest investment they're going to make. Thank you, everybody, for telling me you couldn't hear me. Anyway, don't burn trust for attention. When you go out there, give freely. Don't bait and switch. I see it happening all the time, especially with social media. And I know, Gary Vaynerchuk's like, oh, you have to have attention. You can't tell people what you want until you get their attention. Well, that's true on one level, but that's not what Seth is talking about. Seth is talking about you giving, and you want to get off the plane. If you heard that story, there's a message, really a deep message there. Don't be like everybody else, is what he's saying. Do the smart thing. Get off the plane, rent the car, drive home, and you'll be home way before 1 o'clock in the morning, which is when they predicted that they might get home, right? Get off the plane, meaning stop doing what everybody else is doing. Get a farm, stop buying leads, work to get trust. That's what he's saying. That's our future in real estate. And his second story was about Neil Armstrong. And of course, it was kind of staged, the time, but of course. And Neil looks up at the moon and he says, I was there. I walked on the moon. And so, we live in this world of technology. We live in this world that anything is possible. And sometimes when you feel like, wow, should I do this? Should I really go knock on the doors and get pumpkins at Halloween? Should I really do that? Well, look up at the moon. You should do it. You should really do it. And it takes time. Zillow has worked years to get where they are, to replace us, to be the clerk, to be the go online and the seamless transaction and all those things that they're doing. And if we get a farm and if we start building trust, not trading trust, but building trust, it's very important. We're on the hook. We're going to do things when they're hard. We're going to do things when it's not convenient. Who wants to go deliver pumpkins on Halloween? Get your kids involved. Get up for it. Realize that you are building trust because you are going to be consistent. And then you're going to write them letters. And then you're going to write them personal notes. And then when the house goes on the market in your neighborhood that maybe you listed, maybe you didn't, and you're going to go 5 houses to the left and 5 houses to the right and 5 houses across the street, and you're going to write a personal note and you're going to enclose a personal CMA for that house. You're going to do 15 CMAs and you're going to put them in a personal note, and you're going to tell them that, gee, just like you might be interested, this house just went on the market. I'll keep you posted. Here's, according to market research, what is the value of your home today. Call me if you want more information or if I can help you. Build the trust. Don't always be selling. Ask to be of service. Anyway, that particular segment of Seth Godin, listen to it again because he says so much in there. And I took my notes, I scratched on my paper and it was just overwhelming. You need to listen to the points of the 2 stories, the traffic jam story, the getting off the plane. That's huge because the plane is Zillow, like United Airlines. It's a Zillow experience. Get off the plane and be different. That was the point of that story. And the second one is don't be afraid to do things. Look up at the moon. There's footprints on the moon. There's people going to the moon. Now it's not just NASA, right? There's people going into space. So don't be afraid to do what other people aren't doing. And when we start our social media class, I always put Mark Cuban's quote that says, wake up in the morning and be happy that you're doing what other people are afraid to do. Build trust. Y'all have a wonderful day. I won't be here tomorrow. Kane's going to deliver the show. He'll be wonderful. And there's a class from 9 to noon. So I think that the show tomorrow might be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon after the class. Or he and Jimmy might make the first part of the class part of this. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's on them tomorrow because I'll be driving to California. I will miss you all. The class tomorrow is how to write the RPA to win. It's a great class. Jimmy teaches it. It's 9 to noon, different time tomorrow, because I think he has an appointment in the afternoon, but he agreed to do 9 to noon. Jimmy's always on the run. And Jimmy can be trusted. He does things when they're hard. He does things when they're not convenient. And he knows he's always on the hook, and he can always be depended on. That needs to be what you need to be, right? I love you all. I'm going to miss you tomorrow, but I will see you from California